He's had so many terrible moments this year, you probably forgot about many of them. Remember when he creepily told the French president's wife that she was in good shape?
It's been announced that a second brand new coal mine where they're going to take out clean coal.
Let's agree it's considerably more likely that he thinks you just take a bunch of coal and scrub-a-dub it with a big old sponge. Oh, and take a look at the norms that his presidency has violated, and not the obvious ones, like the fact that he never released his tax returns when he tweeted this wrestling gif of himself body-slamming CNN. Broader sense, he's been waging war on the very concept of truth ever since he first turned to his mom and said, Dada, and she said, no, I'm Mama, and he said, fake news, and you know what that means. We got it! We got it! We got it! The election is in full swing right now.
You saw what happened to some of the witnesses that were on our side. They were literally crucified by this man who looks like an angel, but he's really a devil.
And occasionally getting convicted of 34 felonies and complaining about the judge. But as massively flawed as Trump is as a candidate, husband, boss, father...
I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth. No serious country should be telling its children that they were born with the wrong gender, a concept that was never heard of in all of human history. Nobody's ever heard of this, what's happening today. It was all when the radical left invented it just a few years ago.
He is currently slightly ahead of Biden in the poll is because of this guy. Now, since taking office around 412 years ago, he's exaggerated the size of his inauguration crowd. He said the election was marred by mass voter fraud with no real proof of that.
It was almost raining. The rain should have scared him away, but God looked down and he said, we're not going to let it rain on your speech.
No, he didn't.
This is what makes covering Donald Trump so very difficult. What does he mean when he says words?
Priority, because I want to go to Senator Rubio after that.
I think for me, nuclear is just the power, the devastation is very important to me.
Now that is terrifying.
How do you even come up with a roast that savage? John Oliver famously called Donald Trump a clown made of mummified foreskin and cotton candy.
Miss USA, for instance, is owned by Donald Trump, a clown made of mummified foreskin and cotton candy. But
Oliver's assessment of Trump's shortcomings as a leader and a person was perhaps one of his most devastating criticisms. Trump just reveals what we've essentially always known. He's not just a shitty president and a shitty person, he's a shitty dad too. However, as Oliver has demonstrated time and time again, sometimes the truth hurts, and it's usually funnier that way. John Oliver has never held back when criticizing Donald Trump's most dubious acts, from rambling speeches to divisive policy choices. Oliver is unreserved in his criticism of Trump's word salad remarks. A particularly inane Trump speech against the Iran nuclear deal was reportedly compared by him to a drunk driver crashing a pickup truck full of alphabet soup.
No politician in history, and I say this with great surety, has been treated worse or more unfairly.
no politician has been treated worse. Abraham Lincoln was shot by an actor. William McKinley was shot by an anarchist. JFK was, of course, murdered by Ted Cruz's father. But yeah, Alec Baldwin sometimes does a mean impression of you on TV. So yeah, it's basically the same, isn't it?
It's not to be forgotten, Oliver's suggestion that the predictive text on an iPhone might compose a speech to have was more comprehensible than that of the outgoing medical center. Additionally, he has criticized Trump for his divisive remarks toward Judge Gonzalo Curiel, who was in charge of the Trump University lawsuit. Curiel was born in Indiana, but Trump insisted that because of his Mexican ancestry, the judge was not fair. Oliver's answered savagely. He claimed that Trump appeared as though he came out of a clogged drain at the Wonka factory. Oliver has also criticized Trump for his inclination to spread unsubstantiated figures without doing any research, similar to when Trump tweeted that the percentage of whites killed by blacks was an astounding 81%. The actual figure, just 15%. Oliver made fun of Trump's defense that he learned his information from radio shows.
Actual speech patterns sound like when you write a long text by choosing only the predictive text your iPhone suggests for you. Seriously, potentially more sense than Trump's speech about the Iran nuclear deal, meaning an iPhone would be a more coherent president of the United States.
John Oliver's incisive humor doesn't spare even Trump's personal anecdotes. Trump once told his daughter Ivanka that a homeless person at the time had 8 billion more than me when recalling his extreme debt era in the 1990s. Oliver's opinion is that this demonstrates how, even at his lowest, Trump was capable of being unkind to a homeless person. Throughout it all, Oliver's distinct style combines wit and incisive criticism, helping his audience understand difficult subjects through sarcastic analysis. His recurring jokes and critiques of Trump's often rambling speeches are among the most memorable. For instance, Oliver compared Trump's remarks about the Iran nuclear deal to watching a drunk driver crashing a pickup truck full of alphabet soup. Oliver also points out Trump's tendency toward wordiness and penchant for saying inappropriate things, such as when Trump awkwardly responded to what he liked most about Ivanka with either real estate or golf, sex. Oliver called Trump a colossal creep for such remarks, highlighting uncomfortable moments even between a father and daughter.
I'm trying to keep business out of Mexico. Mexico's fine. There's nothing.
But he's American. He's an American.
He's of Mexican heritage, and he's very proud of it, as I am where I come from.
Where exactly are you from? Because you look like you came out of a clogged drain at the Wonka factory, and you know what? That's great.
How do you even come up with a roast that's savage? John Oliver famously called Donald Trump a clown made of mummified foreskin and cotton candy. Oliver's depictions of Trump and his burns are a superb form of poetry, each one a miniature masterpiece skillfully designed to capture the insanity of Trump's life in its entirety. John Oliver's brutal critiques of Donald Trump have become legendary, leaving both the former president fuming and spectators in stitches. Oliver's inside of humor and vicious ridicule have taken aim at everything from Trump's appearance to his meaningless digressions. Oliver's comparison of Trump to a clown made of mummified foreskin and cotton candy is hard to forget. What a powerful image that is, difficult to ignore. Not to be forgotten is Oliver's magnificent takedown of Trump's never-ending complaining about unjust treatment. Oliver was quick to call BS on Trump's assertion that no politician in history has been treated worse or more unfairly, citing a number of historical figures like JFK and Abraham Lincoln who actually experienced hardship. His caustic denouement, "But yeah, Alec Baldwin sometimes does a mean impression of you on TV. So yeah, it's basically the same, isn't
When you
it?"
strip away his blindly confident, entertaining delivery and just read his words, it is staggering how incoherent he is. Here is a word-for-word reading of a speech where he talked about the Iran nuclear deal.
It would have been so easy, and it's not as important as these lives are. Nuclear is so powerful. My uncle explained that to me many, many years ago, the power, and that was 35 years ago. He would explain that.
That is not a functional use of language. That is a drunk driver crashing a pickup truck full of alphabet soup.
Oliver has an unmatched talent for pointing out the complete gibberish that comes out of Trump's mouth. He mimicked Trump's word salad by typing a message on an iPhone using only predictive text, demonstrating that it made about as much sense as the real thing.
Pointed out that whites killed by blacks, these were statistics you picked up from somewhere, at a rate of 81%. And that's totally wrong. Whites killed by blacks is 15%.
I got to check every statistic. I get millions and millions of people.
You got it. You're a presidential contender. You got to check it.
I have millions of people. You know what? Fine. But this came out of radio shows and everything else.
I got it from radio is maybe the weirdest nonsense explanation I've ever heard. It's like if someone said, "This sandwich tastes weird," and you said, "But I found it in a..."
Another example was when he likened Trump's incoherent speech about the Iran nuclear deal to a drunk driver crashing a pickup truck full of alphabet soup. However, Oliver's mockeries are more than just a cheap joke. Frequently, they draw attention to the gravely flawed facets of Trump's persona and administration. For example, when he mocked Trump's casual dismissal of factual inaccuracy, mocking his justification of getting millions and millions of people, as if that somehow made it okay to tweet false statistics. Or when he called out Trump's racist remarks about a judge of Mexican heritage, asking, "Where are you from? Because you look like you came out of a clogged drain at the Wonka factory."